Hey, it's a new week on Sailboat Ads, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Thanks for joining me. I did want to make a quick comment about what has motivated me to start this channel. And it's a guy named Yammy Noob, or at least channel's named Yammy Noob, and he does a similar thing for motorcycles. And he does a really great job. He calls it, it came from Facebook Marketplace. He used to say Marketplace, now he just says it came from Facebook. So he goes and looks at motorcycle ads from all over the country, all different kinds, and basically evaluates them both in terms of the ads themselves and the bikes. And I'm a motorcycle rider as well as a sailor, so I've always enjoyed his content. I'm going to put a link down in my description if anybody's interested in that. A little a little frustrated because I'm not drawing anything to this channel yet, and I realize that I have all kinds of technical things that I need to improve and make better. Not the least of which is getting a better camera, and so I need to mess with that. Anyhow, so today my title is Back to My Roots. These are going to be 3 boats that are available in my market. I've been looking for a boat, and I've actually ended up buying something in Southern California of all places. So from Colorado to Southern California, 1,100 miles, and I'll talk more about that at a later date. Unfortunately, the ad has already been taken down because I've given the seller a deposit, and I probably should have asked her to leave it up so I could do an evaluation of it. So today, let's get on with our boats for the day. I'm going to start with what I think is a really cool boat, and actually, let me get my ugly mug out of the way. Um, This is a Seward 25. I'm not sure what Hake, that must be the designer. Um, and I think what got my attention here more than anything was the price, 38,000, which is a lot of money for a 25 to 27 foot boat in the Colorado area. Um, and it's 26 years old. This is an old boat. The description says, rare opportunity on a Seward 25 that has been professionally updated for maximum performance and reliability with the big 3 major maintenance items, rigging, sails, and bottom work, all completed within the last 24 months. This vessel is truly turnkey and ready for the 2027 season. Special feature, skip the 3-year wait. The sale includes a guaranteed slip at Frisco Bay Marina for the 2027 season. With a current 3-year waiting list, this is a premier opportunity to secure your spot on the water immediately without the years of waiting. I am not sure how much premium he's adding for that. Frisco is one of 2 boating facilities on Lake Dillon, which is a stunning lake. I've spent many seasons up there. Won 1 or 2 trophies along the way. It's at 9,000 feet of elevation and surrounded by 13 and 14,000 foot peaks. Absolutely amazing environment, and it gets great wind, so highly desirable. However, this year we've had one of the worst snowpack years in many years, and the lake level has basically shut down Dillon Marina, which is the other one. I don't know if Frisco is going to be able to open or not. Unrivaled mechanical condition. While many used boats require immediate investment, blah blah blah. The rig, all new standing rigging, replaced in 23. Brand new 2024 max sails with 130 Genoa and fully battened mainsail. Also with a new 24 Harken Mark IV furler. That is an expensive little rig right there. There's probably $2,500 to $3,000 in sales, and the furler is probably another $800. Hull is professionally prepped with 3 coats of epoxy, fresh bottom paint in May of 2024. So it goes through the specs. This boat is only 3,600 pounds. This thing looks like an absolute tank. The boat that I'm buying, which is the same length as an O'Day 25, and it's even a little heavier than this. So rigging performance upgrade, we've kind of already covered that. Factory mast raising system, easily trailering, mechanical and exterior. This has an honest to gosh Yanmar 1 GM10 inboard diesel. So many boats in our area are outboards because it's just cheap and easy. Actual honest to gosh Yanmar is very unusual. Accommodations: 12-volt fridge, plumbing, new Japsco head, cranking batteries, comfort, set of cockpit cushions, blah blah blah. So he's got a little video. This is not actually very useful. It's just kind of the boat traveling by in the trailer. It looks like it has a centerboard, so it sits quite nicely and low on the trailer. But let's get into the other pics. Nice little picture at the dock. However, probably want to let those fenders down just a skosh. Nice bimini. This is Lake Dillon. I can tell by this is Dillon Marina. I can tell by the background. It is truly a just beautiful spot. Here you've got a different view in the background. Very typical day on Dillon. Bright, sunny, puffy clouds. This is obviously later in the season when the aspen have started to turn. And you can see the lake level is way down. Usually it's right up against those trees there. And here's a picture of the interior. Interior pics are not amazing. They're a little blurry. And frankly, this boat doesn't look as big below as I would have thought. And I hate this. I hate this when sellers do this kind of thing. You know, where they split it into 4 frames. There's no extra cost to doing doing 4 new individual pictures, and you would get a much better sense of it. I am not a fan of wheels on little boats like this. Original brochure, that's kind of cool. Does give you the layout. It kind of shows you how the thing. So here's your galley. Here looks like a little enclosed head, settee, table, V-berth. Kind of a standard layout, but yeah, handsome boat. Again, looks really like it fits nicely on the trailer. Couple of beautiful Chamber of Commerce pictures there, and clearly shrink wrapped for some seasons. So, not a great ad. If you're asking $38,000, you ought to take some really good quality interior pictures. But you know, it looks pristine. The boat looks absolutely great. Is it worth $38,000? You know, I looked, tried to find these for sale in other parts of the country, and they do absolutely maintain their value. But 38 is a lot. I assume there's a premium to get the slip. This is not a boat that I would be in the slightest bit interested in. That's way too much money. So, interesting listing, especially for this part of the world. Let us move on. This is an interesting listing because there ain't much to it. I actually contacted this guy because I was interested in maybe buying this boat. Let's see if we can read this. The problem is that he's put all the details into this. Basically, it's a Word doc, and he's posted that instead of actually putting a description onto his listing. So this is, it's 125 Cherubini. Hopefully you can see this. Engines 6 horsepower, 4-stroke, really low hours, 5 gallons gas. Desirable model due to the 8 opening port lights and interior. Fin keel has a good ballast ratio. I am pretty sure that this is incorrect. I'm pretty sure that there were 2 versions of this boat. One with that funky square top, which I think total weight on the boat was more like 3,750, and this is actually the generation 1. The information here. Professional bottom job, very good performing boat. All the work is complete. Just get on, sail with confidence. Professional bottom job, taken down to fiberglass and 4 coats of epoxy. I like the detail. New Harkin roller furling in 24, new precision sails in 24, new Tohatsu's 4-stroke in 23, new standing rigging in 05. This is an old boat, so having standing rigging that's not 40 years old is good. And then a description of the accommodations. It's got a Garmin, Magnafish finder, galleon head, sail inventory goes into that in a little bit more detail. So let's go back to our first photo. Here we are enjoying, I'm pretty sure this is at Blue Mesa Reservoir. So this is a full keel, not a center border like the one we just saw. And you can see the really sort of chunky square top doghouse. I call this a doghouse or cabin top. The original Mark I version had a completely different kind of look and feel to it. Definitely looks, you can't see a lot of detail in the trailer, but it definitely looks in good shape. Porta potty, here's your V-berth. Very standard sort of layout. You've got a couple of settees. It looks like there might be a quarter berth back there, and maybe a sliding door, which is kind of a nice feature. Claims to have 5'10" headroom. Looks like it's in decent shape. Then you throw this really terrible photo in there, and why bother? That's not great either. Then you get this. Yeah, I don't like this. So one picture, it's got a bimini. In this picture, it has a bimini. In another picture, it does not. It looks like there are cockpit cushions. And then you have sort of the slideshow effect. Again, why not just put all this? This to me is much more interesting. This is telling you more about the sail conditions and kind of the condition of the lines and that kind of thing. And then he's got your bimini here. This boat has been for sale for a long time, and I think it's because the ad isn't very good. Basically he's forcing you to contact him to get any kind of additional information, which I did, and basically his response was very cursory, go look at my ad kind of thing. And that's kind of what happens. I think the boat, it looks actually pretty nice. Lots of new sails, new this and that. It's this ought to be a boat that moves fairly quickly, but it is not. So I'm curious as to what's going on with it. Moving on to the next. I wanted to do this one. Yeah, so this is an interesting boat. $8,500 is a lot of money for 1978. That is an old boat. That's almost 50 years. Been a great world boat, very well built, rigged more like a 30-foot boat than a trailer sailor. New standing rigging and spreader, spring of 25. New centerboard, winter of 23. Nice 9.9 and a well. Custom made ruddercraft tiller, new spring, nice trailer, tires, custom cockpit cushions, new in spring of 25. Tows great, sails great, shallow draft of centerboard for deeper waters. 6 foot plus headroom. You can believe that, because boy does that thing stick up. Plenty of room for friends or family. Moving to a place that doesn't have waters large enough for this beautiful boat. PM me if interested in more info. This is actually in Salt Lake City, which is a pretty good haul. He doesn't specify that he's got a trailer for it. It says it tows well, which would imply that he's got a trailer for it. But let's look at these pictures, because unfortunately they kind of tell a different story. So you look at this. Exterior looks very nice. The hull looks in great shape. It's very yachty looking. You've got a bowsprit, which is kind of a funny looking thing on a 25-footer. It certainly sits on the trailer nicely. Oh, there's your trailer, Mike. Duh. So yeah, got a trailer. Trailer looks at least nicely painted. It's not a rust bucket. But now we start getting into some details that really kind of tell a different story, as I said. So obviously he had instruments here that have been removed. All of the woodwork on this boat is completely wrecked. It's really, really old, maybe past refinishing. You can see he's got little caps on the combings. And one of my pet peeves, get the friggin' power washer out and just give this thing a blast, or take it down to your nearest and spend $10 to get it power washed, so that you don't have this junk sitting on here. It just looks terrible. Here's your outboard in the well. Awful. If you've got a new tiller, why aren't you showing that to us? We do have a couple of sheet winches. These look like very, very old dorades that are allowing air into your lazarettes and lockers in the back here in the stern. Nets kind of indicate there might have been a dog. And here you go. Oops. Completely missing the rail on the port side. Completely missing this handle. This one is trashed. And if you look carefully, actually it looks like this just might be in two pieces. I was thinking that was broken. Another really nasty looking piece of wood, and just generally very, very dirty. It looks like there's a hole here for what? For some kind of inspection port? Is that a port for more dorades? Or was that a winch? It's kind of a funny place for a winch. I don't think it's a winch. Then our last photo of the outboard. You can see the wood here is actually broken. All of the wood just looks terrible. And not a single photo of the interior, which leads one to believe that it might not be very nice down below. So 8,500 for this, not even close, dude. Um, if you know what you're doing, you could probably bring some of this back to life, but that's a lot of work. It's a lot of sanding, it's a lot of prep, and there's a fair amount of wood on here that's not trivial. And what do you do with this stuff? Do you get more instruments to put back in there? Patching this and finishing it in this smooth fiberglass finish would not be easy. Not an easy thing to do at all. So, ad's not very good, boat's not very good. You know, I think you're probably in the $3,000 range, maybe. You know, he'd probably claim, oh, my trailer's worth that. But so this is really super typical of the kind of stuff that's available in my area in Colorado. The kind of things that I look at all the time. I do love to go explore the coasts and look at the super cruisers like we did last week. And we'll get back to that. But that's it for today, folks. Hope you enjoyed the little trip around my area and some of the boats that we have available to us. Always looking for feedback. Like, subscribe, and do the thing. And yeah, I'll see you the next time.